Warning, the people you're about to see and hear are not who you expect them to be. The usual cast of lovable characters are off watching a man we call Girth get married. So for one night and one night only, you'll be on this ride that is Suns basketball with a different group of lovable misfits. Now, with that out of the way, let's preview some Suns basketball. And welcome in to a very unusual edition of the PHNX Suns pre-game show. Yes, these are not the faces you expect to see. Saul, Flex, Lindsay, Espo, all out there watching our main man, the world's reporter, Gerald Bourguet, getting married. So I had to tap in with a few all-stars of Suns Twitter. And we got Aaron Edwards and Stephen PridGeon with me today. Guys, we got Suns Hornets on deck. Suns need to bounce back after losing to the Celtics. Aaron, I got to start, though. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing over here?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I'm great because these are two guys. Let me just get this out of here, okay? These are two guys that are elite on Suns Twitter that I've been following forever. Two guys who know ball, and especially my man Steven with his video breakdowns. He's been doing work for us for a little bit as well. Man, Steven, how you doing?
Man, I'm blessed to be here, man. I'm doing great. How about y'all? How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good. All right, let's talk ball. Y'all want to talk some ball?
Yeah, let's talk a little ball.
All right, let's talk a little bit of ball. So Suns just lost to the Celtics the other night where they hit 25 of 53s. Aaron, I'm wondering for you, was it just the three-pointers that game, or was there something else that stood out to you that led to the Suns dropping one against the NBA's best?
I mean, the Celtics are really physical on defense, and it's pretty noticeable. Like, that's kind of where the Suns' fourth quarter problems are, too. Once people start jumping passing lanes and getting physical, the Suns have kind of had trouble with that. But yeah, the threes, they got mathed to death. Again, like, we were dealing with this last year. Once the Suns start getting out-mathed, it's kind of hard to come back from that, even if you're shooting pretty well.
Yeah, definitely hard to come back from that. What about you, Steven? You notice the same thing or something different?
Yeah, for me, it was just the ability to contain the ball, which ultimately led to a lot of the three-point opportunities that Boston was able to get up, in addition to the transition opportunities. So obviously live ball turnovers, getting back on defense, and then ultimately in the half court, just being able to contain the ball consistently. That's a tall task when you have the compilation of talents that the Boston Celtics do, which is why they look like the best team in the NBA. And for my money and for my viewing of the game, I think they are at this moment in time. Just makes a tall task to beat them or even contend with them, especially in their on their home floor. So I think it's just a lot of things that added up to that. A little bit of what Aaron said, a little bit of what you said as well. So here we are looking at a potentially must-win game against the Charlotte Hornets on a road trip.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit, right? Like, you're going against a Charlotte team that's going to be missing a lot of players. Let's just jump right into the injury report. LaMelo Ball, Seth Curry, Cody Martin, Bryce McGowens, and Mark Williams all out for the Charlotte Hornets. Over on the Sun side, Eric Gordon was listed as probable with a left knee contusion. He, according to Frank Vogel, will be in with no minutes restriction. Josh Okogie still out with that abdominal strain, and Damian Lee, who's been out all season. We've admitted him from our injury report because he's always been out. He's actually traveling with the team for the first time this season, so that could be some good news. Hopefully they get him back soon. But the term trap game is almost more real with this Phoenix Suns team, Steven, because they always tend to play down to their competition and play up to their competition. But you just lose a game to the Boston Celtics. You're in this battle in the Western Conference where everything is so close that you could even not play a game and you can drop or go up a spot. Do you feel like they might be looking at this a little bit differently than if they had won last night?
Yeah, by me just kind of looking forward in the schedule, I always presumed that they would want to go at least 3-4 as the goal on this 4-game road trip. Obviously, with the Milwaukee game coming up on Sunday following tonight's game. So, I mean, obviously they're very much on track to do that, but they can't get to the 3-4 realm or have the even chance to get that without handling their business tonight. Second night of a back-to-back on the road. You know, obviously, like you mentioned, the trap game dynamic of it. teams play harder when the stars are or like the leading players and primary pieces are out at times. There's a lot of things going up against them, but it's definitely a good kind of temperature check opportunity for them heading into another big game coming up on Sunday on primetime.
Definitely. That's the Milwaukee Bucks game. Regular crew will be back for that. But Aaron, you know who played for the Charlotte Hornets last night? Who started for them when they beat the Memphis Grizzlies?
I couldn't tell you, honestly. Like, is Kelly Oubre still? I'm kidding. No,
I know.
Kelly Oubre. I'm playing.
Suns legend Kelly Oubre. You better respect that man. The man who held the horse with his Valley jersey and then got traded subsequently after that. So their starting lineup was Trey Mann, familiar name from OKC, finally getting some burn over there. Vasilije Micic, who I said that name about 100 times before this pregame show to make sure that I got it right. He went off. He actually dropped 25 points. Nick Richards, man in the middle, Miles Bridges for them dropping 27, and Brandon Miller. I want to know from those five, Aaron, who is somebody that you feel like the Suns are definitely going to have to focus on because their style of play is more conducive to having success against Phoenix?
I think Brandon Miller, like, he's just been playing pretty well, and I think he's just a really good rookie. I think that for the most part, I don't think Charlotte's going to be that much of an issue if the Suns played the way that they should play. But yeah, like, I can't really point out any of those specific guys and say they're going to go off, especially with the defense that KD's kind of been playing lately. And the fact that this is a must-win game in March that they kind of got to win.
So the note on the KD thing, Steven, I know that you like to look at the game from a lot of different angles. Obviously, now Kevin Durant's defense has become a pretty big talking point. You've seen some national pundits bring it up, an all defensive push. But just how much of a difference maker is a guy with that build, that size, and that type of IQ on the defensive end when he's locked in?
Yeah, well, especially in the context of the Suns, I think one thing that they've lacked is in terms of size, like stature, but also wingspan and athleticism on the wing. They have a lot of guard-heavy lineups and just generally are a guard-heavy roster. So when you have a player that can bridge that gap between the guards and the Nurkic's and the Eubanks, when you have somebody like, obviously, Kevin Durant, and even more so Bol Bol in addition to that, the defense hits different when that player is on the floor. And you add the acumen and IQ and experience that Kevin Durant has, and the defensive versatility that unlocks a lot of the new schemes that we're seeing them deploy a little bit with more regularity in this post-All-Star break stretch. You know, you see Kevin Durant in the middle of all of that, just unlocking everything again. I mean, people want to talk about leadership. We talk about the national media pundits, especially players that have played in the league, and they should kind of know a little bit more about what leadership looks like. Not always the vocal part of it, but going and showing what you want to see from your teammates. Durant's done that, and he's done that plenty this season. He's brought the team out of ruts at times. He's generated new pace, generated new tempo, and I do think he's on that tier to be on the all-defensive team this season with how he's operated for the Suns.
Aaron, when it comes to Kevin Durant's defense, I'm wondering for you, is this what you expected out of him? Like when you saw the headline, the Suns are trading for Kevin Durant, did you think a year later he'd probably be the Suns' best defensive player?
I mean, not the best, but we saw with the Warriors and stuff, when KD wants to lock in on defense and he's on a team that plays really good team defense, that he doesn't really have to like hold down for the most part. And there was a stretch when he was guarding the best player on the best team. He went Giannis and Bron like kind of back to back in a couple of those. And he's taking it on himself to guard the best player day in and day out. That's probably the thing I expected less was I thought we would kind of freshen his legs and kind of hide him a little bit more than we do right now. But he's taking it upon himself to guard the best player on the best team. And I think at his age and with this stretch in his career, like, it's really impressive that he's down to do that.
It's almost valiant of sorts, right? You see guys go into later portion of their careers and they want to kind of save themselves. They want to maybe just focus on the offensive end or have other people make up for them when it comes to like the pure effort. But it feels like with Kevin Durant, something you have not been able to question even in year 15 is his effort. And if you're just tapping in now, welcome into the Suns pregame show. I know I don't look like Espo. They don't look like Flex, and they don't look like Lindsay or Saul.
I'm going to say something weird like Espo soon. I'm just saying.
Okay, fair enough. You know what? I think I definitely want you to do that because I'm sure that the fans are missing that. I want to remind everybody we are presented here by Michelob ULTRA here in our pregame show. You can go ahead and drop a like on this video. Go into the comments. And if you want your comment read on screen, you can go ahead and give us a super chat as well. Guys, let's keep moving through what the Suns have got going on tonight as they take take on Charlotte. Let's look at the jerseys. We got a classic Association Edition white sunburst for the Suns. Those are so pretty, man. I still appreciate those, even though they've seen it a lot this season. And then you've got the classic edition Charlotte Hornets jersey. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I hear classic edition for the Charlotte Hornets, this isn't exactly the jersey that I expect to see. I expect to see that pure old school pinstripes. And I know they got the general kind of pinstripes on there, but I feel like it should be a little bit more old school. Aaron, am I wrong here? Am I alone in this?
I mean, everybody. I mean, I had the old starter jacket for Charlotte, and I think they need you to buy new stuff, but they also have to keep the thing that everybody loves. So I understand why Charlotte's doing it. They want to keep the same stuff, but you kind of have to make people buy new stuff at the same time. So I love the old school with the stripes and the turquoise and all that. It's historic. I will wear it every single time, but you got to make people buy stuff. That's Adam Silver's NBA, baby.
Oh man, Adam Silver's NBA. If we got time to get to it at the end of this show, we got some more on Adam Silver's NBA. I want to go to there's a comment from Jacob in the chat, and Steven, I want to throw this over to you. It says KD's playing great defense, but Grayson guards the best perimeter player on other teams. Do you feel like we underrate Grayson Allen and just basically call him a sharpshooter and not really appreciate what he does on that other side as well?
Jacob, that's an excellent question. And Eric, I'm glad you highlighted it. That's something that I'm hoping to ask Eric or Grayson Allen on Sunday after the game against Milwaukee. I feel like that's something that obviously with as loud and as pretty and as just engaging as three-point shooting is, and he's among qualified players, he's been the best for pretty much the entirety of the season. That's going to get all the attention. But like you all said, with the context of the Suns, a lot of times, especially when he's in the starting lineup, he's the one that's guarding Damian Lillard. He's the one that's guarding with the Boston Celtics, sometimes Jrue Holiday. He's that guy that's at the point of attack trying to keep the shell intact. So, yes, I do agree that a lot of times his defense goes unnoticed. And even past just the point of attack defense, I think he's also been timely with his help. And that's another thing that's really helped to keep the shell intact for the Suns in this recent defensive stretch that they've seen. So, yes, definitely underrated on his part.
I would say Grayson, and this is not a new thought. This is actually something that the crew usually brings up on a lot of these shows. Grayson is one of those guys on the team where when the ball is in his hands, you don't really worry at all about what kind of decision is made. And I feel that same way on defense as well. I never see Grayson have a lack of like hustle, heart, whatever you want to say is the classic, like first in, last out kind of guy, whatever you want to throw there that way. But as far as like his actual IQ goes and his rotations and his like ability to be in the right position, because he is playing a little bit undersized at three, and you have to make up for some defensive, not liabilities with Book and Beal, because they do try hard and they're solid defenders. But when you carry that type of offensive load, especially when it comes with handling the rock and your usage percentage on the defensive end, it just kind of slides down a little bit, and you don't have somebody down in the middle who's like an elite defender. I mean, obviously Nurk can hold his own, but he's not known as one of those verticality threats kind of guy that you go around the rim and you're worried about punching your shit all the time. So Grayson kind of has to make up for a lot of that at the point of attack. Aaron, is Grayson Allen the most underrated Phoenix Sun right now?
Yeah, I mean, with the shooting and the fact that he's out there, people are hunting him, and he has to deal with that on a regular basis, getting hunted. Like when we play the Lakers, Austin Reeves hunts him. When we played Charlotte, probably he's gonna get hunted tonight. Like Jason Tatum, I mean, he got the best of him yesterday, and he got hunted a little bit. But I think the fact that he knows day in and day out, like once he gets on the floor, he's gonna get hunted for that switch, and he's been holding his own pretty well. I think with the shooting is the most impressive thing Grayson has shown me, is that he's handled kind of being hunted on offense like on a regular basis and still kind of holding his own.
Red Hawk Way in the chat says, kind of wish Grayson would get even more touches. Steven, is he underutilized?
I will say that he is underutilized, but not necessarily for him to run offense or for sets to be ran through him. I think it's more so he gets his touches and he gets his 7, 8, 9 3-point make games off of the Suns playing to optimize in their process. Tons of driving kicks, tons of movement in the offense where the ball is hopping around and keeping defenses consistently in rotation, playing off the gravity of the big three, connected with Nurkic. And then just by happenstance, naturally, Grayson Allen is one of the players getting helped off of when he's on the floor with those players. He gets wide open three-point opportunities. I believe there was a stat that someone tweeted earlier this week where he has the most wide open per NBA tracking data, the most wide open three-point attempts of the players in the elite three-point percentage realm. And obviously he's converting and cashing in as they brought him in to do so. So it's a byproduct of that. And I think naturally when we see him exceed, we're also seeing the offense optimized.
Definitely seeing that. And at the same time, if you want to talk wanting more Grayson, the people beg. They beg, and it includes Kev in the chat. They beg for more Bol Bol. Aaron, have you been on the roller coaster for a while? Were you when they signed him? Were you like, the Suns got their 5th star? Have you had to be like a recent convert to the Church of Bol?
I could be a liar, but then somebody will probably pull up my old tweets right now. I was very mean about Bol Bol earlier, so I can't even lie and say I was on the train. Like, this has started maybe in the last couple months, but if you look up the tweets in like December, they were a little mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like Bol was kind of treated as like a novelty. And I will say, like, there are people who said he could make an impact, but I even saw some, like, he could be the Suns' 5th starter when he first got signed. And while I wasn't completely out on it, I was like, I was out on the starting part when he first got signed, but I wasn't out on him being a contributor. But I definitely didn't imagine to be at this point of the season and being like, wow, they need to utilize him more. And he could be a part of the playoff rotation. In fact, he should be a part of the playoff rotation because of the different kind of looks that he gets and just honestly the pure chaos. And Bol Bol is kind of one of those guys that you can look at him in a couple different ways. You can look at him as a novelty, or you can look at him as a legitimate asset. And I think he's changed a lot of minds throughout the season. For you, Steven, I know you look at the game from an analytical sense. You go and you watch the tape, how they run sets. How much does the game change when Bol Bol's in there compared to somebody who I would just say has normal-sized limbs?
Yeah, well, I think the best way to kind of make it concise, because it could be a whole podcast, with Bol Bol on the floor, the Suns have a 110.6 defensive rating this season. That's 5.6 points per possession, points per 100 possessions. I can speak, I promise you, better than when he's off the floor. And if you look at that on a league-wide context, that 110.6 ranks, that would be third. That's the equivalent of third. So they're defending at the equivalent of a third best in the league on the defensive side of the floor with him on the floor. Like that tells you everything. And then in addition to that, when he's on the floor, the transition goes up. That means he's been optimized playing in transition without the defense being set. He's nearly unguardable when you get the ball to him in transition because he just puts it above his head, and who can get it from up there? You know, no one's climbing that tree without fouling. So I think there's a lot of the little things he does in addition to his ability to finish around the basket on consistency and on volume. All those things are just general pluses for the team. And I certainly think he's earned more opportunity just to get more film and collect more data on him just to see just how much he could actually play in a playoff type of context. And the strength of schedule definitely lends itself to revealing that more.
Well, and I think that's kind of where we're sitting here with Bol Bol, Aaron, is that he's been great in his minutes. In fact, it's few and far in between that he's out there and you actually don't see him helping. And we do have a super chat about that. I'm curious about what you think, Aaron. It's from Cedric Phillips. Thank you for the $5 super chat salute. Anybody else want your comment read on screen? Go ahead and send us a little super chat there. Bol has to be played longer. The game flows better when he's in. His ability to get the rebounds on both ends, plus his easy open shots. Do you feel like Bol's the type of guy that the more you give him, the more you're going to get? Or is there kind of like a ceiling to where you don't want to go too far into it and put him out of position?
I think Frank got stuck in a weird situation where he did this too late. Like, Bol was playing bad earlier, but he wasn't getting any minutes for like a long span. I think if we kind of let him work and get these minutes earlier on, we could push it a little further. Now it's kind of too late to when we're chasing and trying to get out of a play-in spot and seeing the real limits like to the Bol Bol game. I think he should get more minutes over certain dudes. I won't say his name that we
you can say his name.
That we tampered for.
You can say his name.
But
listen, bro. Listen, you can do whatever you want because the thing is, when it comes to the next show, we're gonna be here for post game, obviously. But the next game, you're not gonna have to pay for your sins or atone for any of them. So you can say whatever you want.
Y'all won't see me next time. Get Eubanks out of my life forever if you need to. But no, I really just think like Bol Bol, he got the minutes so late that Frank Vogel can't really test to see if he can get up in the 20s or something right now. Like, it's just too late for that. He might have to in the playoffs out of nowhere, but I think Bol Bol does so well with the minutes that he has because his brain has kind of slowed down. It was sometimes on defense where he looked like he didn't know where he was earlier on. And I think now, like, getting those minutes and being out there with dudes like KD and Book, he kind of has been forced to get better and learn on the fly.
Yeah, and we're going to definitely get into more Bol. We'll see what the rotations look like today on a back-to-back. Maybe he's going to get a little bit more burn, maybe some consistent burn. We're going to get to more of that post game, though. We got some more stuff we got to get here. Pregame. Let's talk about the pregame favorite over at our friends at BetMGM. The Suns 9.5-point favorites on the road. That is a big line. Charlotte plus 9.5, money line plus 360. Money line for the Suns minus 500. There's absolutely no surprises there. And there's no surprises when you look at the earnings because, listen, the guys aren't here and Lindsay's not here to defend themselves, so I'm just going to rip into them. Let's look at their bets so far. Flex down at the bottom, minus 176.01. In fact, Flex isn't at Gerald's wedding. He's getting a visit from his bookie right now. In third place, Lindsay at minus 777. In second place, Saul at 88.76. And Espo at $233.50. So let's start with Espo. This is going to be Espo's bet for tonight, of course, on the BetMGM Sportsbook. Devin Booker, three-pointer, first field goal, exact method, plus 2,200. So if he hits that, he's going to expand his lead quite a bit. I mean, I don't have any qualms with that one, but here's the thing. He's not the only one. Not the only one who is taking a first field goal. So one of them is going to win, one of them is going to lose, and the other one taking first field goal. Well, that's our boy Flex. First field goal, exact three-pointer, Bradley Beal plus 3,000. But here's the thing. Flex ain't the only one either, baby. Lindsay. First field goal for the Suns specifically, so a little bit more margin for error, plus 280. She's taking Yusuf Nurkic. And if you thought, man, I'm really missing a parlay, I want a parlay so bad, well, Saul's got you covered. It's a simple little three-legger there. Player points, Kevin Durant, over 27.5. Total points, over 218.5 for the game. And the Suns covering the spread at minus 9.5. All of that for a plus 500, which I feel like are really good odds. And if you want to get in on the action, I'd highly encourage you to check out the BetMGM Sportsbook. They are the sportsbook for us. It is honestly fantastic. You can go, you can place your bet at any time, and they've got a nice little promotion to run for you, as well as March Madness is right here and around the corner. Guys, your first bet, if you deposit, you can get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if you do not win. All you have to do is download the BetMGM Sportsbook app, sign up and deposit for the first time. You can bet up to $1,500 on your first bet, and you can get paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Those bonus bets do expire in 7 days, but you can go and check out the app and the show notes for full details. And now you can listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-UP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117. For confidential help, Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Get stuffed, Ontario. That's right. I got to fill in for Espo. I got to do that. Guys, we are going to wrap it up here with just one more super chat from our boy Psycho Blue. He says, for $9.99, thank you for the super chat, Psycho Blue. Always faithful in here. The Suns will miss a lot of threes. The Hornets will make a lot of threes. Well, they'll either eke it out, man. It's always sometimes hard to read your super chat, Psycho Blue. I love you, but sometimes I got to parse through them beforehand. We'll either eke it out or blow it. Suns just making the finals odds interesting, though. Marathon continues. Basically, he's saying Suns are probably going to play down their competition. They're either going to eke it out or they're going to blow it. Steven, I'll ask you your prediction for the game before we get out of here.
I think we see a Suns team that comes out focused like we saw in the second half of that game against the Cleveland Cavaliers to start this road trip. See that for in a more of a sustained manner in this game against Charlotte. They handle business and try to take some of that energy that they get from this one into Sunday's game with the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, Aaron, you're up. Your prediction.
Oh, yeah, I think they come out hot. I think Book is going to be pretty assertive early on in this one, and I think they're going to try to really take it to him pretty early.
I am going to roll with the fact that just for my own happiness, the Suns are going to go out there. They're going to roll to a victory because I want to have a ton of fun pregame because I had a ton of fun with you guys in the postgame because I had a ton of fun in the pregame. We got Steven. We got Aaron. We're going to be back here 10 minutes right after the final buzzer ends. Thank you all for tuning in. Everybody, your normal crew, they will be back on Sunday. You got one more show with us, so make sure you hop back right here. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns on Twitter. You can follow myself at Erik Ruby. That is Erik with a K. Aaron, you want to shout out your Twitter for the people?
It's Aaron Ed, AYRONED. Check me out. I'm usually talking about the nice guys. Come through.
Talk about the nice guys and somebody who's always talking about ball. Steven, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at StayTrueS.3, STAYTrueSDOT and the number 3. Always willing to talk hoop as long as you're willing to do it from an unbiased perspective.
An unbiased perspective. I can't promise an unbiased perspective because I'm pretty biased, but we're going to roll with that post game. We'll see how all that goes. And guys, come back here for a post game. Let's watch some Suns basketball. Let's have some fun. We'll see you guys in a couple hours.
We all silly like the mayor.